Year one, I did $30,000 in revenue. Year two, I did about $85,000 in revenue. And in year three, my current year, I'm projected to make $150,000 to $175,000 in revenue. My name is Jacob. I'm a party rental company owner here in Metro Detroit, Michigan. I want to show you guys what my real 3-year numbers look like. If you're looking to start a party rental company business, I want to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. Let's get into it. I'm 24 years old. I started my party rental company a few years back while I was working a full-time 9-to-5 day job. I absolutely hated it. I was miserable. I didn't like working for somebody else. So I started this business as a side hustle with zero business background. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I had to get out of there. Fast forward to this year, I now have 2 trucks, 2 trailers, 4 workers, over 40 bounce houses. We're doing tents, tables, chairs, backdrops. We're also doing foam parties now. So we became a one-stop shop within 3 years. I just want to also preface that I'm by no means an expert in this industry. I'm not a genius. I was a guy who just wanted to pursue a business idea I had. I didn't want to take failure as an option. My initial investment for starting up was about $25,000, which allowed me to buy about 10 inflatables. During my launch, I was still working my full-time day job. It was a 9-to-5 Monday through Friday, meaning that I could drop off before I had to go into work and then I could pick up in the evening. While still working my full-time 9-to-5 Monday through Friday day job, I was able to do this side hustle because it's very weekend heavy. If I had to do a drop off before I would clock in, I would do that and then I would pick up in the evening. It was not easy whatsoever. You have to juggle starting your own business, spending your hard-earned money into something risky that you don't know is going to do well, while also juggling a full-time day job. While I was at my full-time day job, I was answering phone calls, running to the bathroom, answering calls from people that were potentially looking to book. You had to do what you had to do, you know what I mean? So for me, year one looked like I just wanted to get back the money that I invested in. I knew I was in the red after putting that $25,000 initially. My goal for year one was to just make that money back. It ramped up in May. I was getting a little bit of sprinkle in April, but May, June, July, August for me was super big. Obviously, that's the peak season. That's when I realized, okay, this is a real business. This has real profit margins. There is real demand in this thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. You have to think about it in the bigger picture. I knew I had to climb my way back out of the red to be back to, square one, but I knew that I could do it because the demand was there. The one thing I didn't know was that burnout was real. I could not do this and scale this entirely by myself. And that was the biggest lesson I learned from year one. I needed to get workers in order to scale this thing. All right, so year one peak season came to a wrap. This was a good time for me to reflect. There was 3 very important things that I learned after year one. First thing I knew I had to do was buy an open trailer, and I bought a 17-foot utility trailer that had a ramp. Second takeaway was that I needed a worker. The third takeaway was that Google Ads was a moneymaker, man. The first year I was just running Instagram ads. I was paying like $10 a video. I was getting a lot of people to follow me and people to DM me. But once I learned about Google Ads and how to set those up, which I'll talk about in a later video, that's when things really, really took off. With those 3 takeaways, I also learned that the demand was real. Everything was real about this business, and I wanted to be risky. I reinvested that money that I made back into the business for more inventory. I just wanted to go full throttle for year 2. So for me, during the off season of year 1 to year 2, my reflection point was really building out systems and creating a really good website too. So let's fast forward to year 2 peak season. I have a worker on deck. He's riding passenger with me. I have an open trailer. Everything is running smooth. Things are great. I knew this was turning into something that I was going to be very proud of and that I wouldn't have been able to imagine from year 1. However, there were still problems. There was new problems. That's the thing. When you scale, you start to realize problems that are happening that you wouldn't have realized before without scaling the way that you are. But that's going to keep on happening. And then you're just going to keep stacking and stacking, and you're just going to keep problem solving, and you're going to get better and better at this business. I'll give you an example. In year 2 peak season, when my worker was riding passenger with me, I realized that doing same day pickups was just too much of a headache for my operation. It was just a struggle, man. So we decided that we wanted to do drop-offs in the morning and then pick up the next day. Year 2 made me realize I was working my full-time job still. It wasn't at that point where I could quit yet. You could start to feel it. You don't want to jump the gun too quick and be like, oh, I need to stop my day job. No, continue it until you really feel that overcapacity. The year 2 peak season was over. It was now the winter months and I had more time to reflect. And year 2 reflection was way different than year 1. I was building out my website to be even stronger. I learned about, conversions, funneling customers on your website to really get them to that checkout checkout phase, upgrading my Google ads, making the budget higher for it, posting better content on Instagram. I also knew that I would have to get another truck and trailer because demand was so high. I had to get more inventory, whether it was foam parties, whether it was tents, tables, chairs. You're building your empire, you're building your inventory. So for me, year 2 off season was a big reflection point. I knew that day job, quitting the day job was coming. I just had to wait and be patient for it. So with year 3 peak season right around the corner, I now have 2 trucks, 2 trailers. I have more workers. So now I'm like, okay, things are really, really ramping up. I reinvested money back into the business. I realized that after this year that I'm currently in, year 3, that it's going to be pure profit after this year. It's a one-time purchase. You buy a bounce house, you have that for a while. I still use bounce houses I bought from year 1 today. So now that we fast forward to present time, everything I talked about is revenue, of course, but that's not the profit that I'm putting in my pocket. Let's talk about the main expenses that you're going to have. Number 1 is pretty obvious. It's going to be equipment. It's going to be reinvesting money back into the business with that, whether it's tables, chairs, more bounce houses. Number 2 is going to be your crew pay. The third expense is gas. I mean, you're going to be driving around town. That's this business. You're going to have to spend money on gas. Okay, those are going to be your top 3 expenses, but there's obviously other expenses like a self-storage unit where I'm currently putting all my bounce houses. Yep, I got 5 of them, man. So, which is still cheaper than a warehouse, believe it or not. So storage unit, cleaners, towels, mops, shop vacs, random things that are going to be a part of the business that you're not going to realize. These are the real expenses that you're going to have to deal with. For me, in my 3rd year peak season, like I said, I'm projected to make about $150,000 to $180,000 in revenue after expenses with a healthy 50% profit margin. I'm looking to take home after this year about $80,000. Now, people hear bounce house business and they think it's just a side hustle. Me personally, I think that's a load of crap. If you build the right systems, you build the right crew, you build the right inventory, you can totally take this thing off and you can make this a full-time gig. However, this is not an easy business. People think bounce house businesses are really easy. People don't understand that there's a lot of work to this thing. No business is easy. If it was easy, everybody else would be doing it. You have to know logistics, you have to know cleanliness, customer service. All this stuff you're gonna have to do by yourself while working a full-time job, man. Yes, it's gonna start as a side hustle, but build the right systems, stay consistent, work hard, and you'll be able to get to the point where I'm at in my 3rd year. These are the real 3-year numbers from year 1 to year 3. Started at $30,000 in revenue to $85,000 in revenue to projection this year to be $150,000 to $175,000 in revenue. If you're somebody who's looking to start this or has currently started it and is wanting to scale, this channel is for you. If you want to learn more about things like delivery fees and building out websites and funneling and Google Ads, stay tuned, drop a comment, leave a like, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.